Hello everyone. Welcome to Apothecary Tales, the basics of pharmacology. Today, we're going to talk about a medical condition known as kernicterus, which is also referred to as bilirubin encephalopathy or newborn jaundice. So let's understand what is kernicterus. Kernicterus is a medical condition in which bilirubin causes neurological damage. This is commonly observed in infants. Now, why is this bilirubin leading to a neurological damage? When the unconjugated bilirubin increases about 25 mg per deciliter, either due to the decreased elimination or increased production of bilirubin, as a result, this elevated bilirubin will readily cross the blood-brain barrier. As it crosses the blood-brain barrier, this bilirubin will further lead to the neurological damage in the infants. Now let's see what are the symptoms associated with kernicterus. First, irritability, then poor feeding, a high-pitched cry, no startle reflex, lethargy can be observed, brief pauses in breathing, and finally their muscles becoming unusually floppy. So before understanding how does there be an elevated level of unconjugated bilirubin, first let's understand the difference between unconjugated versus conjugated bilirubin. The unconjugated bilirubin or the indirect bilirubin is the form that is found in the blood which is bound to the protein, particularly albumin. Now, this unconjugated bilirubin usually gets metabolized or conjugated with glucuronic acid through the gluconidation. And the enzyme responsible for this is uridine diphosphate gluconosyl transferase. So, by undergoing the conjugation, it gets converted to conjugated bilirubin, which is also known as direct bilirubin. This conjugated bilirubin is more polar and gets easily excreted from the body. So how is it leading to kernicterus in newborns? So initially we have understood that there is elevated levels of unconjugated bilirubin either due to decreased elimination or due to overproduction. So decreased elimination is mainly due to the immature liver in the newborns. You have already seen that gluconidation is the important pathway for detoxifying or conjugating the unconjugated bilirubin. So in newborns, when they have an immature liver, it will lead to the gluconation which is incomplete. As a result, the conjugation of the unconjugated bilirubin does not take place. As a result, it leads to elevated levels of unconjugated bilirubin. When there is elevated levels of unconjugated bilirubin, it can easily cross the blood-brain barrier of the newborn and thereby cause the damage to the brain. If you talk about increased production, mainly overproduction happens when there is an internal bleeding in the infant, or it could be due to sepsis, incompatibility between mother's blood and infant, or when there is an abnormality of baby's RBCs where it leads to rapid rupturing of the RBC. And if you're already aware about the fact that the 80% of bilirubin is mainly produced from the hemoglobin due to the rupture of RBCs or the old RBC cells. So when there is an over rupturing of RBCs or hemolysis, that could also lead to the overproduction of bilirubin. So now I hope it's clear for you all that how it leads to kernicterus, either due to decreased elimination due to incomplete gluconation or immature liver, or due to increased production due to various reasons that we have discussed. Now, moving on to what are the risk factors for developing kernicterus. First, if the birth weight is less than 1500 gram, or due to hypothermia, asphyxia, acidosis, hyperalbuminemia, it could be due to sepsis, meningitis, or when the serum albumin is greater than 10 mg per deciliter, or due to certain drugs. So when we talk about drugs, we have to understand what is the role of these drugs in causing the kerniterus. As we have discussed earlier, bilirubin, the unconjugated form, is always found bound to the albumin, the plasma protein, in the blood. So if certain drugs are given to these infants, that time it will compete with the albumin. It will compete with the bilirubin for the albumin site. As a result, it will replace the bilirubin from the albumin. Hence, the elevated levels of bilirubin will readily cross the blood-brain barrier. So now let's see a few drugs that leads to kerniterus. First, most commonly seen is sulfonamides. Next, salicylates, phenylbutazone, phenytoin, caffeine, ceftriaxone. Most of these drugs will easily compete with the bilirubin for the albumin and thereby replaces the bilirubin from the albumin and causes the elevation of bilirubin in the blood. And that's a brief idea regarding kerniterus. So I hope this is very clear regarding kerniterus. For more such informative video, please subscribe, like and share. Thank you.